culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on the fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
In this year's owners' meetings, not much has changed in the NFL landscape, but there were a few big decisions made. In an attempt to massage the egos of the refs union, the motion to make roughing the passer reviewable was rejected. It doesn't matter. We all knew it was going to be like reviewing pass interference a few years ago, where only a play or two was overturned and blatant PI wasn't because reasons. You will, however, see more potential ref ball and players with the number 0 on the field. There will also be no gradual cuts down to the final roster in the preseason from 90 players, which should keep starters fresh for a probable wave of injuries in week 2 of the season. Speaking of changes that no one wants, there's a chance that Thursday Night Football will have flex scheduling. It's more than likely going to be up for vote in May, and would give teams at least 15 days notice of a change from Sunday to Thursday. This would be terrible for the game, but remember, the dollar is what drives the NFL. TV rights fees are far more important to the league than the fans, and we all know it. It'll probably be reality barring a miracle. On to the NFC's moves. I can't take the Chargers seriously until they stop running into their own incompetence. When you blow such exorbitant leads that even Atlanta is telling you to stop with the choking, there are problems. Their immediate answer is to cure themselves of Lombardi's disease for Kellen Moore. The flashy move that everyone will somehow chuck into a fire when he makes an inexplicable play call that backfires in a critical moment. They did manage to keep Keenan Allen around when we all expected him to be cut, so I'll give that to them. Plus add in Eric Hendricks for the defense and team leadership. I just don't know what happens with Austin Eckler. He wants out, but not San Diego isn't all that keen on trading him off. He might be stuck here until next offseason, where he can only hope an injury doesn't destroy his value as a player. Running backs are unfortunately pretty replaceable in the modern NFL. Just ask Melvin Gordon, and then ask the NFC how their offseason's fared.
Los Angeles Chargers select Quentin Johnston, wide receiver, TCU.
Johnston may feel like excess goods, but past the surface it makes a lot of sense. Keenan Allen's getting long in the tooth. Mike Williams can't do it alone. Justin Herbert needs receivers that can keep up with this rocket arm. This is where Quentin Johnston fits in. A big-time wideout with the upside of one at the next level. Only if he could do something about some of the glaring holes throughout the roster, but the Chargers do love them some sexy picks. Don't say they don't try to impress. Every year we hear about how this is the year the Chargers are finally going to break out. This is the year that they stop chargering all over the field. Yet it never changes. Whenever it feels like LA's mistake is escaping their own cursed incompetence, the vortex draws them right back in. In 2023, they will hopefully be cured of Lombardi's disease with the Kellen Moore vaccine. But he did show some red flags in Dallas. Those will hopefully be masked by the weapons on offense, featuring a Justin Herbert that's been flung the big bucks to hopefully not be the new Phillip Rivers in Chargerland, and Austin Eckler, who failed to both get a better contract and request a trade out of here this offseason. To be fair, the real question is on defense. Can J.C. Jackson prove that last year was a fluke? Will Eric Hendricks finally solidify middle linebacker? Is there a healthy defensive tackle standing on this team? More importantly, Brandon Staley's job is on the line thanks to it. His ass is searing hot this year. And for very good reason. I'm watching you. One word comes out of my mouth in regards to the AFC. Stacked. It's going to be a goddamn bloodbath in this conference. And it can be argued whomever makes the Super Bowl will win it outright. Regardless, predicting anything is somewhat of a coin flip. In the AFC East, regardless of competition, the Bills are still the best in class in my opinion. AFC North, barring more injury to Joe Burrow, Cincy takes it with their elite offense. The AFC South, it's Jacksonville's to lose. They have to win it by default, right? Although we did say that about Tennessee last year. And the AFC West is a Kansas City affair. As usual. Wild cards, though, they're really hard to gauge. Pick them out of a hat, I guess. Ravens, Chargers, and Jets. Why Jets? Because this is usually how ridiculous it tends to be. Sue me. I'm sorry for all the teams I jinxed as always. I regret nothing. Herbert versus Tua. The debates about their draft positions and skills continue to rage on in the fires of NFL discourse. In this matchup, it'll be a fight to the death. Blow after blow thrown by each fighter in unison. Defense not needed. It's a purebred shootout that'll be remembered for a while to come. Miami can't stop the running attack of the Chargers. Not San Diego can't stop Tyreek Hill or an inside slant route. Birds of a feather. And more alarming for both since they've tried everything to fix glaring issues on those fronts. What we get is a back and forth affair. Tension aplenty as the lead switches sides frequently. However, one side is a glaring weakness, and that man's name is JC Jackson, currently wanted in LA for theft of millions of dollars. The final play of the first half is masterpiece. Dumbass committed blatant PI on a receiver surrounded by 3 other Chargers with no time left. That spot foul got Miami into field goal range, and they converted their fuck up. In the second half, Jackson was deliberately targeted on the field. Dude covered as well as tattered loincloth. No wonder why he was benched. Tua proved to his haters he couldn't throw by skying the ball for over 400 yards. 200 of them to Tyreek alone. Dimes on top of dimes. A performance for the ages. Capped off by a final drive of legend.
Wajacoma is in the backfield. And they go to the end zone and caught. Hill, touchdown! Touchdown!
If only they didn't miss the extra point. You'd believe the Chargers would respond, but that would imply they weren't cursed by demons. The offense sputters because they panic when Miami manages to blitz them. The one time JC Jackson doesn't let a receiver catch the damn ball. If he doesn't fuck that up, the Chargers win. Every time they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory becomes even more unbelievable. Football is definitely back. The thing that amazes me the most is that people are still shocked when the Chargers blow games in typical fashion. There's a reason why chargering is a verb, people. Even against Tennessee, a team starting the equivalent of moldy bread at quarterback, they will not only play down to competition, they will squander any chance they get. There will be no luck in the running game. Austin Eckler's out. Justin Herbert is going to have to do every single damn thing for this offense, because he certainly isn't getting much else. You'd think that'd be enough, but the Titans have a fortunate trick up their sleeves, reinforcing that the opposing head coach is Brandon Staley. In theory, a defensive mastermind with plenty of weapons on that side of the ball to shut down opponents. Like most weeks, it sure as hell didn't look like it here. Tennessee bounced back after last week's disaster. They were methodical and the Chargers had no answers most drives. They made Ryan Tannehill not look like he was washed. That's an impressive feat these days. And with an offense that's honestly one-dimensional, the Bolts lost their thunder. The Titans have taken the lead. Sure, Liquid LA would be dragged to a tie by the grace of Justin Herbert to go to overtime, but let's be real. He can't do every single damn thing for this franchise. The Titans forced the Chargers to go 3 and out on their drive. It was over from there. Expecting that defense to make a stop? With everything they invested in it? What do you want, a return on investment? This was a chargering in slow motion. A lot like watching your uncle die due to decades of smoking. You wish to avoid it, but it's inevitable. Once again, people are shocked by this. We have ourselves a good old-fashioned choke bowl. 2 teams that do everything in their power to blow games. 2 teams that refuse to take the wins that are being handed to them. One team must unfortunately win. If Minnesota keeps fumbling the damn ball every chance they get, it's going to be a long game. Let's make this completely clear. The only reason the Chargers have any relevance in this matchup is because of Justin Herbert's near perfection. Another week without Austin Eckler means he'll have to do every goddamn thing for this franchise. Fortunately for them, the Vikings defense doesn't seem to be all that keen on stopping a runny nose, let alone their receivers. Their own receivers fumbling will do that for them. Considering that neither defense can make a damn stop, and nearly every single move the Chargers have made to fix it hasn't worked whatsoever, the game turns into an offensive shootout. The only thing stopping either teams are their own fuck-ups. Both offenses are the Harlem Globetrotters facing the Washington Generals. Defense bows down and lets them put on a show. By God, they did. Throwing haymakers in the annals of war until deep in the fourth quarter. The Vikings are down by 4, but they're charging down the field. Liquid LA, and the greatest shocker of all, is managing to hold firm on defense. Minnesota tries to go for it on 4th down in front of their home faithful. They fail miserably. This should end the game, right? You don't know the Chargers, do you? So let me get this straight. You go for it on a 4th and 1 at your own 20, and take the ball away from your best offensive weapon? Staley, you're such a fucking hack. Now Minnesota has prime field position to win a game they shouldn't be close in, converting a 4th down for a chance at grand larceny. So Vikings, why are you burning this much clock? Spike the ball. Don't overthink it for 20 damn seconds. Jeez!
So much time being wasted here. 12 seconds when Cousins gets the snap. Steps up, throws for the end zone, deflected, and it's intercepted! Murray!
Peak fucking Vikings. The chance to take victory from a countertop, but then stumble on a step and fall into an acid bath. Say you couldn't hear the play call, Kirk? It's not hard to spike the fucking ball, dude. Just do that and run to the sideline. It's not hard to overthink that. Congratulations, Brandon Staley. You just escaped your own incompetence yet again. If I didn't know any better, I'd call you Goldman Sachs. I have more bad news for the Raiders. Jimmy Jesus has been betrayed by the football gods for 30 pieces of silver. He's out of this matchup. The preseason wonder of Aiden O'Connell will get the call today. That call is probably coming from the same hospital Jimmy G went to. He got routinely destroyed in the pocket. When is an offensive line? The Raiders apparently don't have one today. I think I see a few of Aiden's body parts lying on the ground. Khalil Mack chose to deliver a death penalty to his former team. He transformed back to his shit-wrecking self to deliver 6 sacks to his opponent's doorstep. That hasn't been done in a single game since 2017. With Justin Herbert dispatching a suspect defense and the Chargers out to a 24-7 lead, this should be an easy win for Liquid LA. Seriously, what the hell did you expect? It's the Chargers. The offense goes ice cold with a rare fuck up by Herbert and a 3-and-out. That legendary Charger defense proceeds to bend and bend some more with a long touchdown drive to make it a 1-score game. Cue Brandon Staley being a difficulty spike. Another 4th and 1 deep in your territory and you're going for it? Wait, I thought the tush push was a cheat code. Staley, why the fuck are you? Be fucking normal! Now the Raiders have a chance to tie the game or worse. But thankfully, they're the Raiders.
It's 1st and goal. O'Connell. Intercepted. It's picked off. Asante Samuel.
Brandon Staley escaping his own incompetence yet again. God, I am so tired of this hack. What is this, the 7th time this has happened in the last 2 seasons? I guess he's playing percentage points on when he'll get fired or something. Kellen Moore's revenge match. Dallas cast him off because Mike McCarthy wanted to run the ball more and save his defense. His new destination is where all hot prospect coaches go to die. The Chargers. It's boisterous asswipe that doesn't shut the hell up and operates himself to high hell against small-town boy who thought he could make it big in Hollywood and is being eaten alive. At SoFi, it's a more grueling affair than 2 strong offenses let on. Neither team can get the running game going, so Dak and Justin will be forced to unleash the aerial attack. It's not much of one to start. Both offenses are struggling to gain traction, and some of that is because both McCarthy and Staley enjoy the art of over-aggression. Despite the high risk of failing 4th down conversions, Dallas at least manages to overcome their own mistakes to kick a field goal just before halftime. The Giants can learn from that. Staley and his Chargers, however, don't. He has an addiction to going for it on 4th and short, and it fails on a rollout. High risk indeed. Dallas does nothing with it, and Liquid LA does kick a field goal on their next drive, however. Begin both Dak and Justin dueling in the abyss known as LA. Spectacular passes and daring feats carrying both teams to the heights of a mid-tier franchise. Oops, Dallas, you can't fuck the ball on punt returns like that. That's going to be Charger ball. And Herbert makes them pay to tie the game. Here is the drive where Dak proves to his haters that he can lead a team to a win, chipping away minutes upon minutes of precious clock. And he completes the job. Limited time remaining and a field goal kick to take the lead. What do the Chargers do in response? Die. Justin Herbert can't do every single thing and finally buckles to the Dallas defense. This is worst case scenario for the Chargers. Look around the AFC. Nearly every team in it won this week. You lost significant ground in the playoff race, and it may hurt in the future. I know it'll hurt us since we have to deal with Cowboys fans this week. Thanks a lot for that. There's a reason why people keep thinking that one fan ESPN kept showing last week was a plant. Because no seasoned Chargers fan would ever show that much emotion. They already know what's coming. Misery, pain. A so-called defensive wizard being repeatedly gashed with a name-brand defense. The Chiefs and Mahomes could do whatever the hell they wanted in the first half. Patrick was on pace to break the passing yard record, it was that bad. Justin Herbert and that offense may be high-flying, but they're trying to run a 100-meter dash against the Usain Bolt of teams. They're not going to win. And even when the Chiefs' offense maxes out their kill count, Liquid LA can do nothing with it. They have the gun lodged in their opponent's mouth, yet somehow end up shooting themselves in the foot. Chance to score a TD to tie? Not happening. The pass is deflected at the line for a pick. The high-profile defense manages to actually stop Kansas City? Not happening. Kellen Moore's offense suddenly goes flaccid. And don't forget about Chargers special teams, a classic staple of their misery. By the way, welcome back McCall Hardman to the Chiefs. Finally solving the riddle, Mahomes takes them to the end zone and officially kills off their opponent. Eternal frustration isn't just expected for the Chargers. It's tradition. People are starting to shit on Justin Herbert for this, yet he's supposed to coach and play defense? He's being Phillip Rivers'd in real time. Another classic staple of their misery. If Brandon Staley loses this game, it has to be Quaker instant firing for him, right? Against this Bears team, it's domination or bust. The fortunate thing is that Chicago chose to unleash their disorganized, poorly coached unit out onto the field today. Witness such amazing feats of offense like barely being able to move the ball and making Tyson Bagent look like an undrafted Division II rookie. Their defense fared little better. Liquid LA was out here running checkdowns for most of their plays, and they ran untouched for gobs of yards nearly every time. Herbert was dicing them non-stop. They scored on their first 5 possessions, pretty much killing the Bears where they stood. All this does is make me want to laugh at the Raiders even harder. You lost to this? You made this look competent? What the actual hell is wrong with you? This team was outmaneuvered at every turn by Mike McCoy 2.0. Now they survive and gain momentum in a must-win game. See, Las Vegas, this is how you take care of business. Consider this the typical New York Jets scenario. A prime opportunity to gain favor in the AFC East is at their doorstep. All signs point to a game where the Chargers will bend the knee. The good news is that they do. They bend the knee into their spleen. As much as the Jets are a machine, they don't have an O-line and they don't have a quarterback. Against this front 5 of backups and poorly meshing parts, the Chargers looked more like the defensive juggernaut they pay to have. Zach Wilson died, then sucked ass, then died again. Not to mention New York, for some reason, decided it'd be a great idea to rub their hands in Vaseline before the match. The only jet flying was the lost F-35. And the worst part is the defense did its job, but New York couldn't move a muscle on offense. I can hear the coping now. Just wait until Aaron Rodgers comes back, then we'll be good. Did you forget about how shit the O-line that got him injured is? How fast the Chargers front 4 ate them alive? Aaron's gonna be congealed to the turf by the end of the first game. The New York Jets screwing the pooch and making Brandon Staley look like a genius. The greatest crime of them all. Do you all remember that Seahawks-Lions game from last year? The NFL simply Control-C then Control-V that match and edited a few details. Apparently, it's optional to have this thing called defense in this match. This will be an offensive showcase for both units, a flexing of power both behind center and at the skill positions. Every once in a while, the offenses will fuck up, but this is for gunslinging and evading a few moving pylons every now and again. Detroit's defense might be incredibly concerning thanks to Justin Herbert picking them apart, but Liquid LA's defense is somehow even worse than theirs in every conceivable way. Alex Grinch tried to steal defense from USC and got fired from it. And the Chargers honored his attempt by allowing their lifeless bodies to be run over all game. In this onslaught, the Lions offense grew 3 sizes on this day, and everything not San Diego threw at them, Detroit countered in kind. The Chargers might find it hard to win if they keep giving up over 500 yards of it in a game. No matter what Herbert and company do, their defense keeps running itself over. We might be tied at 38 after endless 4th down conversions, but the Chargers defense, surprise, surprise, is fucking terrible. Dan Campbell is so confident in how shit it is, he'll go for it on 4th down late in the 4th. And he'll convert it. Because, once again, the Chargers.
To 7-2. Derwin James is right in the middle.
From 41 yards, the kick is good.
Like clockwork. Every day that Brandon Staley is still the Chargers coach, a shred of Justin Herbert's sanity withers into nothing. How can you win with a defense this shit? It's physically impossible. Detroit played ugly on the defensive end, but escaped because their opponent is just like LA. Vapid and fake. Was wrong, they honestly fit in nicely. Panic time for both franchises. 2 teams with higher aspirations than sub-500 play trying to recover from agonizing losses last week. Someone forgot to tell the Chargers to stop the agony. Any chance at success dropped like a multitude of passes. Dead serious, the receivers can't stop dropping fucking passes. It's cost them at least 7 points in the first quarter and allows Green Bay even a chance at glory. Jaden Reed will take that swinging door and run uncontested for an easy touchdown. You'd say that Joey Bosa would help out here, but more pain in Charger land. He was carted off with a foot injury. The way he was reacting, it might be long-term. Not to worry though, Herbert will save his team like he always does, if only because a receiver of his can catch the ball for once. Begin the sheer brutality, where both offenses do everything in their power to stumble and bumble upon themselves. The Packers are absolutely beatable, but the Chargers keep self-destructing in the red zone. Keenan Allen is supposed to be sure-handed. Not in this drop for an easy touchdown, he ain't. Austin Eckler doesn't fumble the ball often? Good to know he fumbled near the fucking goal line in typical San Diego fashion. Points squandered at every turn. And all the Bolts can do is play catch-up with a touchdown. Honestly, more stunned Keenan Allen caught a football for once. But it's here where that vaunted Charger defense comes to play. They allow Jordan Love to channel the spirit of Favre and Rodgers before him. Romeo Doubs jumps up and steals the lead away with a deep touchdown. The first 300-yard performance of his career, Lambeau celebrates along with him. Liquid LA responds with a coup de grace.
Herbert, there's the bump. Johnston can't pull it in!
Somehow I'm unsurprised when the Chargers keep shitting the bed like this. It's repeated nearly every week. Justin Herbert is the only thing keeping them afloat. The rest of the team breaks down and people somehow blame Herbert for it. Green Bay wins mostly because the Chargers chargered as always. 5 of their 6 losses within 3 points. The definition of pain. Soon enough, Brandon Staley's about to explode.
You can stop asking that question, okay? I'm going to be calling the defenses, okay? So we're clear. So you don't have to ask that again.
And hopefully you'll be calling an unemployment office in a few weeks as well. Watching the Chargers play football is an evergreen experience. You can simply gaze at box scores after the fact and come to the conclusion that, yep, chargering happened again. Despite every opportunity to take hold of the match, and trust me, there were plenty, Liquid LA continually cursed themselves no matter what. So the refs aren't going to call a late hit on Herbert out of bounds. Well, they'll just use an Uno reverse card on you for unnecessary roughness. Baltimore may be leading, but they can't stop being held back by John Harbaugh being John Harbaugh. But my friends, we know the Chargers have to one-up it in the best way possible. Painful fumbles by skill position players. On multiple occasions. And golden chances as well. Ravens may be leading by 10, but they've checked out from trying to pass block. And the Bolts have a chance. A 19-play drive, burning endless clock and imposing their will. What do they do as they get to the red zone? Can't seal the edge, fumble in the pocket, recovered by Baltimore. This was their whole damn game. Doesn't matter that they scored a touchdown late because Justin Tucker's automatic.
Good from 42, good from 48, and from 44, he missed! Oh my goodness.
Holy shit, he's mortal. Too bad the Chargers are no longer lingering on the mortal coil. As I said, what's the point of having expectations for this team? Baltimore was definitely beatable here, but Liquid LA can't stop falling for the same damn traps over and over again. A flawed team with a failed vision, poor coaching, and no cohesion. And it grants the Ravens the #1 seed in the AFC for the time being. Predictable Chargering. At least they didn't lose by 3 or less this time. God showed mercy. A hoodie and a goat walk into a bar. They sit and discuss how Bailey Zappi will be given the nod over a ruined mac and cheese. The goat ponders, isn't the weather going to be terrible this game? The hoodie ignores him and just starts pounding shots. The bartender then comes over and asks how he got those drinks inside without paying. Don't you know who I am, the hoodie implores. I can single-handedly ruin a quarterback without even trying. The goat tries to stop him, yet the drunkard is throwing haymakers in the rain. But none of them hit because the Patriots are punchless. Throwback uniforms deserve a throwback to 1990. The bartender then drags him across the bar and throws his ass out on the curb. Deflated and shut out. It keeps happening every week, yet the goat sits back and looks pretty in the chaos. Visions of tanks appear in front of the hoodie. Chargers won because the Patriots have cirrhosis. The end. Look, I needed to do something to spice the segment up. This game was fucking terrible. We've only got 5 weeks left in the season from hell itself. That means the playoffs are about to be seen as we crest over the hill. And then the race to the finish will truly begin. The AFC is a mosh pit as we all expected. Right now, Miami is the current #1 seed by tiebreaker, despite questions that linger. Baltimore, after their bye week, is slotted at #2. Kansas City and Jacksonville, after some rough losses at home this past week, are the final division leaders at 3 and 4. The 3 wildcard spots are bunched up, as the Steelers, Browns, and Colts are all 7 and 5. The Texans are also 7 and 5, but the first team out. Denver, Cincinnati, and Buffalo sit on the fringes at 6-6, and the Chargers and Raiders are kinda there at 5-7. This is the playoff situation, and the madness is only going to amplify. There's only one rule, and sadly the Panthers didn't follow it. Don't get eliminated! I don't blame any Chargers fans out there if they've simply checked out of the season. From how they were dominated by both the Broncos and their fans at home, they might already be finding other ways to spend their Sunday. There are much better things to do than watch a hack and Brandon Staley become a slave to the analytics gods. Witnessing Liquid LA embrace the recessive genes and turn into fucking Quang Duck dousing himself in gasoline every week is amazing. 0 for 12 on 3rd down and 1 for 6 on 4th. Light a damn match and set them ablaze. Denver got all but a free win by suffocating their flaccid attack in the Vance Joseph redemption arc. That's when you know this year's been fucked. And it's also with another quarterback voodoo curse. Justin Herbert, you are the next lucky recipient of a game-ending ailment. Prepare for the long marinating meme of Easton Stick. No, I just want to watch hockey. Probably be better than watching the Chargers get their asses whooped up and down the field. The Bronco offense wasn't even world-beating, but they did more than enough. If I were Staley and Telesco, I'd start packing shit up in cardboard boxes. Their time of pretending to be the smartest men in the room is coming to an end. You thought things were bad in Chargerland before this moment? Oh, now you really get to experience hell. Justin Herbert is the hope and savior of this franchise. He's the next quarterback to be taken out by the gods. Surgery's needed for his finger injury. He's out for the rest of the year. Everyone and their mother was blaming him for Liquid LA choking in every situation, but now you'll get to see how bad things can be without him. The truth is pain. The future is pain. The only comfort in life is pain. This franchise honestly deserves it for how they fumbled everything in sight. Fuck you, Spanos. Well, this is gonna take a bit to sort out. Scriptwriters are generating so much hope that it could power a small town for years on end. A mediocrity carousel that'll make your head spin. The age of upsets brings us endless mosh pits. In the AFC, the Ravens seem to be the only team capable of separating themselves from the rest. Miami had a chance to match them, but they choked and are stuck at number 2. But that's only because the Chiefs and Jaguars have been in a state of freefall as of late due to a variety of reasons. The first wildcard spot standing alone are the Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns. Gotta love overcoming adversity. Speaking of adversity, the Steelers have self-imposed it on themselves, yet are somehow bullshitting their way to the 6th seed. Even zanier Indianapolis holds the final spot by tiebreaker. It's a 6-way tie for 2 spots. The Texans, Broncos, Bengals, and Bills are alongside them fighting for a chance to move on. Welcome to the mess, kids. We've got 4 games left. Only 1 spot's been clinched and 2 teams are out. Buckle up. Keep your hands inside at all times. And one more thing. Don't get eliminated!
I don't know, Jeff. We just didn't have a good game tonight. We didn't have it. It's just one of those games where nothing went right for us. You know, the worst thing happened to us tonight. So it's a reflection on all of us. This is just a really bad game in the NFL where nothing goes right, everything goes wrong, and, you know, it's the tough side of things. I know that what I've done here for 3 years, and I know what I put into this, and, you know, I know that we're capable of going. I know the type of coach that I am. I believe in myself. But again, this isn't about me. This is about a group that's hurting in there. We got to get some rest, and we got to get ready for Buffalo.
Why do you still believe that guys still believe in you, that you can go back in there and lead this team to whatever the rest of the season is?
Yeah, you'll go talk to the guys after this, and you'll be able to hear from them.
Why should you be the coach if that's
games like this happen in the NFL. To every coach that's ever coached in this league, you can look at any great coach that's ever coached in the league. Sometimes games like this happen. Sometimes there are games where it doesn't go right. None of it. And you got to put it behind you, and you got to move on to the next thing.
Oh, baby. Unbelievable. Jack Jones. They do it again.
People thought Justin Herbert was the problem. Now you see how much he was carrying that shit franchise. Staley really should have been fired at halftime. After that horrific disaster, not only against a major rival, but a team that was shut out 4 days earlier. One that treated offense like plague, mind you. The Chargers had to pull a James Somerton and delete fucking everything. There was no way they could have kept Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco around after this. I'm not shocked at all they were thrown off the team plane mid-flight. I'm more surprised it didn't happen after that game. It's one thing to expect a bad coach to be terrible, but I thought Staley was going to be good. With how well he did with the Rams, he looked promising. The only thing revealed was that he was carried to relevance by Aaron Donald, the modern Mike McCoy. I called him a hack in January. Good lord, I might have been treating him with kitty gloves. Know how that is? A supposed defensive guru features defenses that are completely fucking terrible. Every year has gotten worse and worse, despite big acquisitions and incredible on-paper talent. Perhaps he should keep going for it, like his efforts to butcher game situations and appease his analytics master. He became a slave to numbers without understanding the context needed for success. You live by the analytical sword, it'll be the first thing to slay you. Telesco? He couldn't fill out the depth on a damn roster if his life depended on it. Surprised he lasted as long as he did, but Dean's never been known for making smart decisions, has he? This is what the Chargers are. A wannabe starlet that moves to LA, dreams of becoming famous, yet is exposed as a fraud 10 minutes after arriving. Hollow, cosmetic, irrelevant. A team with a handful of superstars surrounded by tent cities around the damn block. They're more than cooked. They're outright lost and might be facing the need for a deep overhaul of most of the roster. San Diego's lucky. They don't deserve to suffer through this failure of a franchise whatsoever. Word of advice, Brandon? You should have gone for the tie. Fuck you, Spanos. Another tick of the clock has passed. And while several teams have secured tickets to the dance, there is so much more at stake in this final stretch. The first seed in the AFC is all but Baltimore's to gain. Barring a sudden skid, they'll be getting a needed first-round bye. Miami and Kansas City have a chance, but will need a lot of help for it to happen. The AFC East is still a contest, mostly because of Miami's choke. If the Dolphins lose these next two games and Buffalo wins them, it would set up a Week 18 clash for all the marbles. The AFC South is the next premier destination. With Jacksonville's recent slide, there's a three-way tie for the title. However, the Jags still control their own destiny in this regard. The Texans and Colts have roughly an even chance of claiming it for themselves. The wildcard situation is still murky. Cleveland's win has all but guaranteed them a slot, but there's still a four-way tie for two spots. Cincinnati's still rattling off wins, Indy and Houston are defying logic itself, and the Bills are coming in red hot. Pittsburgh and Denver are all but out due to recent defeats, but still have an outside chance. I wish you all good tidings and safe travels in this final week of 2023. Christmas season is hectic, but these holidays get more special with age. Enjoy your time with friends and family, cherish what you have in life, and do me one favor, please.
Don't get eliminated!
Set sail for the open seas of piracy, lads. This match is the first of many exclusive to Peacock. Thank God I can call that a tax write-off. Perhaps the Chargers can use their whole season as one as well. Maybe the Bills can too. They've gone from besting Super Bowl contenders to heinously playing down to a competition solo. They might as well have been high schoolers. Perhaps one of these days Buffalo will stop carelessly turning the ball over. In a normal world, the Bills would be up by multiple scores and we all go back to suffering through stupid political debates at the dinner table. Those debates might be on the merits of Buffalo as a franchise. A classic trap game in more ways than one. So many damn smoke and mirror situations that are masked by playing an opponent as weak as Liquid LA. They're both nowhere near their potential as a team, yet are repeatedly being bailed out by high-end talent. It's a very strange situation. One that might be rectified the moment they stop fucking the ball. But that's more a long shot than faux LA doing anything with it. Dicker the kicker uses his golden leg to take the lead. Not surprising they blew this, right? Buffalo remembered that they're playing the Chargers and Josh Allen becomes fire guard on the final drive. How cliche. It was less the Bills won and more they escaped their own repeated incompetence. I'll give them the most sarcastic golf clap in the world as I await their impending doom in heartbreaking fashion. The Bolts simply got the electric chair as a mercy killing. Fuck you, Spanos.
I did it! Revenge!
When I think of viable solutions to a power struggle, I don't see Jarrett Stidham as a solution. It's deja vu for him. Same thing occurred when the Raiders ran Derek Carr out of town last year. If this is supposed to be an offensive spark, I'll show you a liar. That liar will probably be Dean Spanos, since the Chargers have been long dead. Know how they're lifeless? They can't convert a third down if their lives depended on it. And Justin Herbert was the problem? Yeah, sure. Maybe that's the spark that Sean Payton's been looking for. Nothing like egos clashing to force a separation, is there? Yes, the Broncos did win. But that's because this was such a desolate void that someone had to be handed a win for formality's sake. Not that it matters for the endgame. It's hard to come back from a 1-5 start. The hopium supply will cease. Remember, Denver, Broncos country may no longer ride, but the ride never ends. Does that even make sense? Kansas City can't get much worse than their shitty performances recently, but with the division already secure, no point in playing most of the starters. Season's already wonky as hell, so why not enjoy an encore appearance of Blaine fucking Gabbert as he goes up against Easton Stick? The matchup no one's been dying to see this season. This game will end up like that final scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Packed away in a box buried in a warehouse never to be found again. Did anyone pay attention to this game? Perhaps they simply tuned out after peak charging happened near the goal line. For a 97-yard scoop and score by KC. If that ain't their season in one play, I don't know what the hell is. The only thing to remember about it was Chris Jones getting paid a hefty bonus for double-digit sacks. Otherwise, it was a mere business transaction. There were a bunch of field goals that happened in the process, but in the end, the Chiefs got the last laugh with a 1-point victory. The Bolts dare waste one of the greatest carry jobs by Easton Stick? That's worthy of scorn. Fuck you, Spanos. This had been unfolding from the moment they unleashed peak charging in Jacksonville back in January. After doing nothing to fix it, this was merely an addendum to their failure. It's honestly a repeat scenario from seasons past. Terrible defense led by god-awful free agent signings, a core that's aging out in areas, and an offense that solely relies on Justin Herbert bailing them out. You know there are people blaming him for this? Not the abhorrent run defense, or Austin Eckler's regression, or Quentin Johnston unable to catch a damn thing. Herbert's the only thing keeping them relevant. And everyone saw it the moment he went down with injury. The team simply said fuck it and checked out. Most of their winning was in spite of themselves, but getting mauled by the goddamn Raiders? A cold wake-up call. Brendan Staley and Tom Telesco are gone, even though it should have happened months earlier. And the Bolts are in a perilous situation. Most of their top cap hits are on a sharp decline or are already gone. Telesco's poor depth signings do little in support. Herbert's great, but he can't do it alone. Liquid LA may be forced into a rebuild or a retool at minimum. It forced Dean Spanos to finally pull out the checkbook and give a king's ransom to Jim Harbaugh to return to the NFL after a long absence. Get a natty at Michigan and then get an even bigger bag in the pros? Pete Carroll taught him well. With Joe Ortiz from Baltimore at his side, there is much work to be done. Nothing else to be said. Get to it.